because, they're spending like millions of dollars to get their fan base, right? So why don't we tear it apart and then steal the ideas?
filmandlearning.com.
Hi everyone, Mark here from filmandlearning.com, and I'm in the business of helping you tell your story better so that you can serve your audience, your clients, and your students even better. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a fan base by using video through an example of the new XFL. I'm going to break down the formula that the XFL football startup seems to be using to build a raving fan base. This formula can also be used in your business, so it's not like you really have to care or know that much about football to get something out of this. This is really just about film and audio. In this video, we're not going to break down any differences between the NFL and the XFL except for focusing on how they're building their fan base. The closest team that I have to me, I'm not sure if I should be super loyal to. It's the Seattle Dragons. How do I sound excited about this? It's the Seattle Dragons, and I'm not really one to go like all in as a fan on something. Yeah, well. So let's ask ourselves, first of all, why? Why would another group try to start their own football league? The answer is pretty straightforward, of course. It's money. They are a business. They want to make some profit. And if I asked you what the business of the NFL was, what would you say? Football, right? That's actually wrong. The NFL last year in 2019 made most of its money, $8 billion, made most of its money from two different sources. One of them was TV deals through broadcasting the games and advertising, and the other one was merch, like hats, shirts, underwear, sheets, mugs, foam fingers, basically all the stuff that I call laundry. Ticket sales came in third, which is way below the first two. So they're making billions of dollars off of advertising and laundry. Now the XFL, what is its purpose? It's probably the same thing, but to get a good return on their investment, they have to start a movement. They can't just have this like pop-up league. This is where they're using audio and video in creative ways to contrast with the NFL. It doesn't really matter if you are doing football or you're a dentist. It's a very similar path to build these loyal, avid fans. What we're going to do here is we're going to break down the formula that the XFL is using. And the first thing that they're doing is they're looking at the user experience. They know that they're going to be compared to the NFL, so they're choosing to use their cameras in ways that will make them stand out, which probably means we should do the same in our businesses. I really feel like they've taken an early shot at displaying football as if it's being displayed on like a game console. Their cameras are all over the place, and I think it's really a good innovation to shoot the sport this way. Basically, they're trying to put the user in the experience of playing football as much as possible. It's almost as if they're asking, where's the action? Let's put a camera right there, which is a great principle when we're shooting our own stuff. Where's the action in your business? That's probably the first shot you should take. Now they have sky cams with these cameras on cables above the players, and they're using them, the NFL uses them too, but they're using them with a lot more movement and faster movement, and it makes it feel more like that video game experience there again. And they have camera people all over the field all the time. And this offers a perspective on the game that you've never really seen before. It's like the turf level view instead of a long shot, like some guy sitting on the sideline with a long lens getting close-ups. It does feel different. It is more handheld, and it feels like it is that you're more part of the movement. And I'm wondering, should we place bets on how many cameramen get walloped by players this year? So the net effect is that I, as a viewer, feel more immersed in the game visually. Now, you and I don't have sky cams on cables, and we may not have like 16 cameramen running around with cameras, but the effect can still be duplicated in what you and I do in our businesses, and that is to shoot things from a bunch of different angles, because that's what the XFL is doing. They're just providing unique angles. The second thing that they're doing is they're offering a lot of behind the scenes stuff, or at least behind the scenes when compared to the NFL. They're doing the thing where they're like the Wizard of Oz, where you pull the curtain back and you see what's going on back there, and that usually comes in the form of audio, so you can hear the coach giving directions to the players. You can hear the players interacting on the sidelines or in the huddle, and it offers a perspective on the mindset of the team, what their focus is, and what they're attempting to accomplish. Have you ever read a book and then they made it into a movie, and then you went and watched the movie and you felt really let down by the movie? That's like every single movie based on a book ever for me. But I believe part of the letdown of that is because a lot of writing in a book will give us the inner dialogue of the characters, and that is just simply missing in a movie, but it's super rich in a book. By broadcasting live audio from the teams, it kind of opens up the internal dialogue of the team, and it makes it more interesting to watch. Now, another behind the scenes aspect is video, and this one is, I think, kind of interesting. Officiating in any sport is usually where the fans will direct their hate. The officials called this wrong, so and so lost the Super Bowl or whatever. So what the XFL is attempting to do, I believe, is to draw some empathy from viewers by putting cameras in the review booth and cameras on the officials, and then they opened up the audio, so you can not only see the official in the review booth, but you hear the conversation occurring between the official in the review booth and the official on the turf, and they talk about, like, basically they're solving a problem. Like, how do they solve this problem and come up with a fair judgment to make a fair call? And that is perhaps another great way to pull in a community, is to develop some sort of empathy, and maybe, if you're brave, hit that pain point in your business. What is the pain point that your customers have, and put that on film with audio and share your internal thinking about it and the processes in it. Maybe there's something to be said for that. Okay, ultimately, raving fans are not just going to be intellectually involved with your brand. They're also going to be emotionally involved. You'll see this with music artists, that people get on stage, their fans lose their minds, they scream and holler, they're having hot flashes, whatever it is, I don't know. But they're just like, well, they're kind of like that, I guess. I'm not normal. One of the best pieces of advice I had early in my career as a filmmaker came in 2002, when a wedding photographer told me that he always liked to take pictures of the newly married couple right as they walked out of the service. So they would walk down the aisle and they would stop right at the back, and he would shoot a picture of them, because right there is the raw emotion of that couple. That is an authentic reaction. And the XFL is taking a similar approach. When there is a victory or a loss, coaches and players are being interviewed immediately, right on the spot, and it captures that emotion of the victory or the loss, instead of waiting to the end of the game and doing an interview that 99% of viewers will not watch. Maybe there's a way to share more emotion with the fans in your business by telling more of your story and what you're really passionate about. Now, something else the XFL is doing that they're showing on screen that just kind of blew my mind initially was social proof. Now, let me break this down a little bit. None of us want to be the very first to do something. There's always that one. There's always one. Few people like to be the first one to stand up and do something. If it's like wearing a new style of shirt. I think of Jerry Seinfeld, and he's asked to wear the puffy shirt, and he's told, like, you're going to go on TV, you're going to wear this shirt, and you look like a pirate. And he's like, I don't want to be a pirate. And he just doesn't want to be the first person to do that. Plus, it was a really stupid shirt. The first person to do something, we usually see that person as a lunatic of some kind. But if a second person joins them in what they're doing, that first person we look at and go, oh, that person's a leader. It's so amazing how quickly we can flip that. The XFL is hitting the ground running when it comes to social proof. They are showing fans decked out in their team's merch, enthusiastically screaming for their teams. As I watch this, I wonder, where on earth did these people come from? I'm sure there's a percentage of the population that will just initially go completely ape over a brand new team in their town, but a whole stadium full of them? My cynical side tells me that the XFL handed out free merch to everybody who were sitting in like the first 3 rows, and then 5 hours before the game started, they started serving everybody cheap beer. Okay, that's very cynical. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm not. honestly, it doesn't really matter. What they are doing is the XFL is taking their most valuable commodity, which is screen time. That's where they're making their money. And they're giving it back to their fans to put their fans on display, to cheer for their fans as social proof to the rest of us sitting at home that we're not the first ones to join this movement. And therefore, they hope to grow their movement through that. How does this translate to your and my business? It's actually pretty easy. Put your customer experience on display. I am not saying customer testimonials. Put your customers experiencing your product, experiencing your service on display. That's what the XFL is doing. There's people at the stadium experiencing the game, cheering like mad lunatics because they're the first ones to do it. Sell that experience as social proof. Later, the testimonials come along. I kind of ragged on them quite a bit, but I do think that customer testimonials we approach with a fair bit of skepticism. So there you go. We ripped back the curtain on the XFL. It's trying to make raving fans, and that's how you and I can do this too. The formula is actually pretty straightforward. First of all, provide an experience that's different and more immersive than your competitors or than what you're doing right now. Second of all, open up your inner dialogue, share the sounds that matter, and then strategically put cameras into the inner workings of your business. And if you're brave, find the pain points, show why you're doing what you're doing. This is number 3, share the emotional reactions of you, your fans, your staff, whatever. And then 4th, show new prospects that they're joining something awesome, that they're not the first. They're gonna be into a community of great people, and that you're there to help that community, and that you are there, like the XFL did, to cheer for your own people. And this might seem frightening to say, well, I'm gonna kind of reveal myself in these things. Yeah, that's true. I have a video that I'm working on to help you put fears in context, and that will help you actually make those fears work for you in a way that builds your brand and your raving fan base. The XFL example may not fit exactly what I do. It certainly doesn't, and maybe not what you do. So you have to have it built custom for you. You can build it, yourself. If you want help with that, I am happy to help you with that. And you can hit me up for a Kickstart video in your business. There's a link about it down below. I'd love to hear what your take is on this, as it's a startup with millions of dollars, but it's a startup and they're hoping to turn it into something. So it's kind of like this very public thing that could either go big or could completely bomb right in front of us. And I find that highly interesting. Go ahead and hit a subscribe button, and cheers. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, if you're trying to build a movement in your business, similar to there's a spider on the wall.